Well, guys, it's time for another installment of stocks that a famous investor is buying. And for this episode, I actually ran a poll over on Patreon asking if you'd want to see Michael Burry, Stephen Cohen, Jim Simons, George Soros, or Bill Ackman, who actually took the win at 60% of the votes. So today we'll be looking at his trades, and maybe in a future episode, we could also do Michael Burry soon, because he came in second place at 30% of the votes, which is pretty high too. But sticking with Bill Ackman for now, he is of course a very famous investor and hedge fund manager, also known for being a bit of an activist investor, which is where you start to invest in a company, start to try to have more influence over how their business is being run, and try to improve it over time so that you can also benefit from the stock price improving as well. So that's kind of what activist investors do, and Bill Ackman has been known to do that on occasion as well. Anyway, he founded Pershing Square Capital, which is a very large hedge fund that currently holds around $18 billion of assets under management, and he actually still serves as the current CEO there as well. Well, they recently released their most recent stock transactions from the last quarter to the public. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the largest stock purchases of those. And I'll give you my own opinion on each one of them. And I'll even rank them from best to worst as well, like we always do in this series. Now, normally we would be looking at the top 5 largest buys. However, Ackman only made 3 purchases last quarter, which he is kind of known for doing. He doesn't tend to make a lot of stock transactions or trades, but he usually just kind of picks a smaller amount of stocks and then invests heavily into those. And so for today's episode, we're only going to have 3 stocks to look at, but that's okay. It's still going to be a fun one, and it'll just be a little bit of a shorter video because of it. But either way, I hope you enjoy the video, and I can't wait to jump into these. If you don't mind, please subscribe to the channel if you do want to help out. It means a lot to me. YouTube right now cares a lot about subscriptions, so if you want to help keep the channel alive, that would mean a lot to me if you don't mind subscribing. But either way, I hope you enjoy the video. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump into 3 stocks that Bill Ackman is buying. All right, so let's go here from smallest to largest position in the portfolio. And coming in at purchase number 1, we have Google, ticker symbol GOOGL, which he almost doubled his position on last quarter, bringing the value up to over $500 million and worth over 5% of his portfolio. And I gotta say, guys, I absolutely love this pickup here. Even after already climbing by over 50% this year, I still think it's fine to double up on. And that's because the business is phenomenal. They dominate many different tech markets, some of which are the biggest in the world. They're building an ecosystem of products and services similar to that of Apple's, and they even have huge future potential in areas like artificial intelligence, where the massive amounts of data that they get to collect through all their various internet-based platforms can really be used to fuel AI in the future. Like, for example, their own answer to ChatGPT in the form of Google Bard, and also their newest model called Google Gemini, which they just announced last week and has been getting a ton of hype and attention for not only using text, but also implementing image, video, and audio data as well, which, as you guys know, Google really dominates those types of data. They collect text, but obviously also video, audio, image. They collect all that kind of data all the time on the internet. And so because of that, I really think the sky is going to be the limit for Gemini. It'll be really interesting to see what they can achieve with it. But even in the meantime, financials are already outstanding, and even the valuation is still surprisingly good, even after the climb, with a PEG ratio that is still somehow cheaper than the sector. I don't think that should ever be the case, and I'm easily ranking Google at number 1 for now until I see what else is on this list, because it's already one of my favorite stocks in the entire market to begin with anyway. Moving on to purchase number 2, though, we have Howard Hughes Holdings, ticker symbol HHH, which Bill Ackman increased his position on by over 12% in the quarter, adding over 2 million more shares and bringing his total stake in the company up to over $1.3 billion and worth over 12% of his overall portfolio. Now, if you've never heard of them, this is basically just a giant real estate company, which, by the way, we also saw Warren Buffett and a few other famous investors make similar moves into real estate stocks this year too, excuse me, which I've covered in different videos. But yeah, this one in particular is known for really buying up huge plots of land, which it then starts selling off in smaller amounts, while also building new homes, apartments, retail stores, gyms, office buildings, and even schools, so that the broader area becomes more popular, land values go up, and then Howard is able to sell off the remaining lands and developments at even higher prices, while also holding on to several commercial properties for themselves as well. The result is a big return on investment from what they sell, while also generating consistent income from whatever they hold on to. And so far, that's been a winning combination for Howard Hughes, as sales and profits usually rise to new record highs in most years. However, as you would expect with any real estate type of company, they do tend to be heavily exposed to the macroeconomy, which is why you see big drops during downturns and recessions, with another huge drop in sales expected this year before bouncing right back up to a new record high expected next year, probably because analysts expect the Fed to start to lower rates. On the bright side though, the volatile performance has at least caused the stock price to plummet by nearly 30% over the past 5 years, but even here the valuation is still a bit rich, with significantly higher EV to EBITDA and price to funds from operations ratios. I don't think it's a bad stock, and the fall in price does make it more tempting to jump in, but overall it's a bit too volatile for a real estate type of stock that doesn't even pay a dividend. I'd rather invest elsewhere, like for example a cheaper REIT with an actual dividend, like Extra Space Storage for example, which is one that I've been buying recently myself. But as far as Triple H goes, I'm going to rank it number 3 for now, as I don't have much interest in it at the moment. That will, however, leave us now though with the third and final purchase. This is also the largest position of the bunch, and that's going to be Hilton Worldwide Holdings, ticker symbol HLT, which Ackman increased his position on by over 10%, bringing it up to over $1.5 billion and worth almost 15% of the entire portfolio. And yeah, we have another real estate type of stock here, as HLT famously owns and franchises, of course, all of those Hilton hotel properties that you're probably familiar with yourself, but they also have just over 20 brands in general with over 7,000 properties worldwide. That's across over 120 different countries. And that includes some luxury brands too, like Waldorf Astoria, LXR, and Conrad, just to name a few. Plus, their Hilton Honors Reward program currently boasts over 115 million members as well, which is pretty strong. Because of the pandemic though, many travel-related stocks, including Hilton, saw major crashes to their financials in 2020, but as travel increases again and hotels are getting their occupancy rates back up to pre-pandemic levels, most of these have seen large recoveries, with Hilton in particular growing back up to record highs, with another 16% revenue growth expected this year and still 7% the year after as well. I also really like just how aggressive Hilton has been over the years at expanding and building new properties, which is why they've been able to outgrow much of the competition. However, all of this would sound great, and I'd actually consider the stock to be a buy if it wasn't for the stock price, which has already risen to a new record high after climbing by over 35% this year and more than doubling over the past 5 years, leaving the valuation now significantly more expensive than the sector on virtually any metric you look at, which the tiny little dividend of less than 0.5% is not going to be anywhere close to high enough to make up for. Like I said, I actually kind of like Hilton, but the pandemic taught me really not to trust travel-related stocks given how easily governments can lock everything down and kind of destroy them. So with Hilton trading so expensive right now during what is, in my opinion, an actually very weak economy, I'd rather invest elsewhere. It's about the same as Howard Hughes for me though. Maybe I'd give Howard the slight edge, but it's all kind of irrelevant anyway, because the only stock that I actually like here on the list is Google, which I will give Ackman credit for. I mean, it is one of my absolute favorite stocks just in the entire market, so I think it's a good move, good pick up there by Ackman. But the other two stocks, they're just kind of okay. I mean, if you're trying to bet on real estate, maybe you want to consider them or something similar. But like I said, I think there are better options out there. Maybe a cheaper, lower valued REIT with an actual dividend. To me, that would be much more attractive. So That's why I invested in Extra Space Storage, or I'd go with something similar there. But yeah, overall, nothing here that excites me too much, but that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear what you all have to say down below. Let me know if you'd consider any of these stocks, and if there's any other investor you want me to take a look at for a future video, let me know that as well. But anyway, thanks again for stopping by, my friends. I hope you're all doing well, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.